Welcome to Daifuku Automotive Reynoldsburg. We're thrilled to have you on our team. My name is Ernie Lang, and I serve as the Senior Safety Compliance Manager for this location and a few others. No matter where you are in your career, whether this is your first job or your next big step, safety is the foundation of everything we do here. It's not just a rule, it's a mindset that protects you, your coworkers, and the success of our entire operation. Today's safety briefing is your first step towards building that mindset. Before we teach you any job specific tasks, we want you to think safety first and always. You're now part of our safety culture, and your commitment makes a real difference. Together, we can keep our workplace safe and strong. Why does this matter? Well, statistics show that most workplace accidents happen to employees who are new to their role, and that's why we take this seriously. You may recognize some topics from past experiences, but pay close attention. Our methods may be a little different, and they're designed to keep you safe. At the end of this session, you'll sign an acknowledgement confirming that you have received and understand this training. The signature isn't just a formality, it's your pledge to work safely and help us maintain the highest standards. So, welcome aboard, and let's make safety your first success here at Daifuku. Thank you.
A brief description of Daifuku AMUS. The AMUS facility in Reynoldsburg produces and assembles the mechanical and structural components that support automotive automation. This includes steel fabrication, including laser cutting, bending, and welding of parts, to building complex automation systems like conveyors and material handling systems that are installed in automotive plants. Section 2. Employee Rights and Policies Procedures. Employee right to stop work. Daifuku employees have the ability to remove themselves from work or situations that they consider a present and imminent danger to their life, safety, or health, without the risk of undue consequences or retaliation. Daifuku Automotive America Intranet. To access the H&S manual, go to the Daifuku Intranet homepage. Click on Internal Control, ISO, search for the file name hsms00.00.docx. Continually improve safety. Daifuku places great emphasis on safety. The company provides monthly safety training for shop employees. Job Hazard Analysis, a systematic tool found on the AMUS intranet used to improve workplace safety, meet OSHA requirements, and foster a strong safety culture by proactively finding and mitigating risks. Work Instructions, also found on the AMUS intranet, explains each job in detail. Daifuku also manages a safety team and incorporates the Safety Matters program. Employee Responsibilities, Policies and Procedures. Work in compliance with the occupational safety and health regulations. Work in compliance with established corporate safety and health policies. Report any hazardous conditions or unsafe practices immediately to a supervisor. Obtain first aid promptly. Section 3. Emergency Response. Reporting Requirements. What is an emergency? A fire. Hazardous spill. Active shooter. For severe weather. These are the reporting requirements during an emergency. First, determine the type of emergency. Then, report the location of the emergency to the lead of the department and/or manager. Finally, the management or lead will determine actions to take. Evacuation process for fire. Once an alarm has sounded or an evacuation has been signaled, the following actions will be taken. Everyone will evacuate the facility using the evacuation plan provided for each area. Exit routes will be determined by the location of the employee at the time, and by any obstructions that may block a particular exit path. During time-critical situations, employees may bypass normal shutdown procedures and activate the emergency stop, or e-stop, to halt a machine in operation. Evacuations will be conducted in a safe, orderly manner and the employees routed away from the hazard. Emergency response sweep teams will check their designated areas before reporting to their meeting point. Meeting point coordinators will perform a roll call and make sure all employees have been evacuated. Employees are to report to their assigned meeting point if safe to do so. Otherwise, they are to report to the nearest meeting point and check in with the meeting point coordinator at that location. Please note that there are fire alarm pull stations located next to each man door. Evacuation process for severe weather. When necessary, the notice to evacuate to the severe weather areas will be given by the emergency response coordinator or the highest-ranking member of management present. There are 4 severe weather shelter-in-place meeting points. If you are in the purple zone, areas 1 and 2 are located in the large lunchroom. The gray area will take shelter in the men's locker room at the southeast end of the shop. The following steps should be followed in severe weather situations. Stop all work, and since we have a little more time in the case of severe weather, we can shut down the equipment using normal protocols before moving to the shelter-in-place locations. Stop all vehicle traffic. Once at a meeting point, all employees are to remain there until a return-to-work signal is given to the meeting point coordinator by the facility response coordinator. Once the threat is no longer present, the emergency response coordinator will direct personnel appropriately. Evacuation process. Threat of physical harm or bomb presence. Active shooter response. Remember, run, hide, fight. Be prepared. If a safe path is available, run. Do not hesitate to get out. Leave your belongings. Do not attempt to move injured people. If you cannot get out safely, hide. Be quiet and silence your phone. Block entrances and lock doors. Stay out of shooter's view. If your life is in danger, fight. Try to disable the shooter. Use improvised weapons. Fight like your life depends on it. Bomb presence response. If a suspicious device is found on premises, note the exact location and description of the object. Clear the area for 300 feet. Do not pull the fire alarm. Alert the emergency response coordinator or a manager. This person will analyze the situation and take appropriate action, up to and including facility evacuation. Evacuation. Hazardous spill. If a hazardous spill or leak occurs that is a threat to life or health, take action as follows. Evacuate personnel in the immediate area of the spill. Notify senior management personnel and the emergency response coordinator immediately. They will determine whether it is necessary to evacuate personnel. Accidents and injuries. All injuries, accidents, and near misses must be reported immediately. No exceptions. You are also required to report unsafe or unhealthy conditions in the workplace, including and not limited to defective tools or other equipment, failure to follow established safe job procedures, the removal of any guarding, and if the lockout-tagout procedure is not being followed. Accidents and injuries. Reporting. If an employee is injured in your work area, activate the nearest medical emergency alarm by hitting the red button. The first aid team will react and report to the area to assess the situation. Employee will be taken care of by the trained first aid team, who are trained in basic first aid, CPR, or cardiopulmonary resuscitation, the use of AEDs, or automated external defibrillators, and the proper cleanup of fluids that may contain harmful pathogens. Investigation will take place and report procedure followed. Near miss. What is a near miss? Simply put, a close call. The individual or individuals involved were not injured. The near miss may have resulted in damage to property. If the problem is not attended to and corrected, it more than likely will result in one or more of your employees being injured or acquiring an illness from its cause. If an employee sees or is involved in a near miss, it must be reported immediately. Get a near miss report form from the shop office. The form can be turned in anonymously in the near miss box outside the shop office, or hand it to management. Investigation will take place and the report procedure followed. Injuries in the workplace. First, respond to the situation. Next, let your lead or manager know. Then, activate the medical emergency alarm in area. Prepare by knowing where first aid kits and AEDs are located. Injuries in the workplace. Bloodborne pathogens safety. Bloodborne pathogens are viruses and bacteria found in blood cells and body fluids. Follow our bloodborne pathogens policy found in the H&S manual via the Daifuku intranet homepage. Search document HSMS_06.01.docx. To follow bloodborne pathogens safety guidelines, you must treat all fluids as infectious. Use personal protective equipment like gloves and a face mask to prevent contact with blood. Clean up the right way. When cleaning up materials that have been exposed to blood, never use bare hands. Wear gloves and use tongs or a brush and dustpan for broken glass. When administering first aid, protect yourself first before treating the victim. Place contaminated materials in labeled sealable containers that are color-coded or marked with a biohazard label. Injuries in the workplace. First aid kits. On-site first aid kits include various Band-Aids, sterile tape, gauze, swabs, various sprays, scissors, ointments, burn dressing, sterile gloves, aspirin, Tylenol, cold medication, stomach medicine, and more. All employees are free to use first aid kits while in the facility. There are several located around the shop. Injuries in the workplace. Trauma kits and AEDs. On-site, trauma kits include tourniquets, hemostatic gauze, pressure bandages, and chest seals. It also includes personal protective equipment like nitrile gloves and tools like trauma shears for cutting clothing. Other components are airway management devices, tape, and an emergency blanket to address wounds and keep the patient warm. There are 2 AED stations on site, located approximately here and here in the shop area. There are 6 trauma kit stations on site, located approximately here, and also near the exits for the evacuation meeting points. Injuries in the workplace. Eye wash stations. Emergency eye wash stations are located at these approximate positions on the shop floor. In the case of a chemical eye injury, go immediately to the closest eye wash station. If possible, yell for help so that another employee can help you walk safely and quickly to the eye wash station. The first 10 to 15 seconds after exposure are critical. Activate the eye wash station. Flush your eyes continuously for a full 15 minutes while keeping your eyes open with your fingers. Roll your eyes in all directions to flush every area of the eye. If you wear contact lenses, begin flushing over the lens immediately. Do not delay flushing to remove your lenses. Remove the lenses once flushing has begun so the chemical is not trapped in your eyes. After flushing, seek immediate medical attention. Section 4. Employee Equipment Safety Responsibilities. Employee Responsibilities. Pedestrian Awareness. As a pedestrian in the shop area, special awareness is key to your well-being. Watch for forklifts. Signal your intended direction at intersections or when walking around a forklift that is in use. Be aware of crane operations. Keep eyes on the load. Don't put yourself in pinch points. Man lifts operate inside of the shop building. Watch for overhead work. Keep out of coned areas. AMUS equipment. Forklift. The forklift operator has control of the interaction. Be sure to find a clear place to move out of the way free of hazards. Each operator must have forklift training and certification prior to operating a forklift. Perform and fill out a safety inspection prior to operating. Be sure the forklift is able to handle its intended workload. Always sound the horn at intersections and blind corners. 10 rules for forklift safety. Use safe speeds. Avoid abrupt stops. Pedestrians always have the right of way. Don't pick up riders. Be aware of fork position. Keep right in lane. Watch out for blind spots. Keep alert for floor conditions. Slow down and sound horn at corners. Keep the load level and stationary when in motion. Crane. Crane certification training is required prior to operating any crane in the shop. Perform an inspection and fill out a crane inspection sheet prior to operation. Inspect all rigging for defects prior to use. Never walk or stand under a suspended load. Here are some examples of damaged rigging, including severe chemical damage, severe heat damage, abrasion and melting, chemical damage, illegible identification on labels, ultraviolet ray damage, punctures and cuts, knots, and severe abrasion. Aerial lifts. Certification of training is required before operating both boom and scissor lifts. Pre-operational inspection is required. Fall protection is required in all aerial lift operations. Don't exit the basket while off ground. Must remain at least 10 feet from all energized electrical sources. Always operate within the manufacturer's specifications. Ladders. Inspect your ladder before using it. Always maintain 3 points of contact. Never use the top 2 steps. Ensure your base is secure and stable. Only use a ladder or step ladder for light work in a safe environment with a firm and level base. Do not overload a ladder or step ladder or carry loads on ladders. Never use the top 2 steps on either a ladder or step ladder. Do not extend ladder while standing on the rungs. Lockout, tagout. Use only the lock issued to you. Never use or remove another person's lock or tag. Be sure there is sufficient lockout, tagout equipment available for the job. Lock or tag must be identifiable with name, phone number, and company name of person it belongs to. Fall protection. All fall protection is required to have an annual documented inspection. The user should also inspect all components of the fall protection system prior to each use. The user should also assure a properly fit harness, and if there are any defects, remove it from service. Each user must be trained, and if you are unsure about any component or technique related to fall protection, ask questions. A 4-foot height tie-off requirement is general for industry work. Fire extinguisher. Extinguishers are located throughout the building. They are located in the office area and are labeled with a sticker. Extinguishers in the shop are on red columns and on all welders. During all hot work, a fire extinguisher is required to be close by. To operate a fire extinguisher, remember the PASS or pass method. Pull, aim, squeeze, sweep. Hazard Communication, SDS, Safety Data Sheet. A Safety Data Sheet, SDS, is a standardized document that contains crucial occupational safety and health information. Every chemical in our facility is required to have an SDS saved in our library. Safety data sheets should be consulted whenever information is needed for a hazardous material, including a spill, proper PPE to handle the material, and the medical reaction one can expect when coming in contact with the material. Safety data sheets follow a standardized structure consisting of 16 sections. Section 4 of any SDS provides information about first aid measures in case of exposure. Section 8 provides information about the type of personal protective equipment to use when handling the chemical. The Daifuku SDS library is located on the AMUS Intranet Manufacturing Safety page. Hazard Communication, Labeling. All chemicals must come into the facility with the manufacturer's label on it, and the label must remain legible while in-house. If a chemical is put into a secondary container, it must have a proper label on it with SDS information. The only exception to this is if the chemical will never leave the control of the person who placed it in the container. Hazard communication. Safety signs. Sometimes, signs provide warnings or reminders to use extra care. Choosing to ignore signs can cause serious injury or even death. Always take special precautions when you see a danger sign. Signs can warn us to stay away, or they can remind us to use extra care. They were put in place for a reason. Personal protective equipment. What is it? Personal protective equipment, PPE, is specialized clothing or equipment worn by an employee for protection against infectious materials. PPE is the last line of defense and should only be used when a hazard cannot be engineered out or administrative controls put into place to remove the hazard. AMUS Shop PPE free of charge. How to? All employees have access to Fastenal machines by using their keycard. All PPE that is needed can be found here. If you have any questions about the Fastenal machines, please talk to your manager. AMUS Shop PPE. Eye protection. Eyes are very susceptible to injury. Thousands of people are blinded each year from work-related eye injuries. 90% of eye injuries are preventable by wearing appropriate eye protection. Prescription glasses must be ANSIZ, 87.1 rated with fixed side shields. Goggles. Goggles give you more protection than safety glasses because they fit closer to your face. Goggles will be provided when the type of work being done requires this additional protection. Face shield. Face shields offer full face protection around chemical splashes or flying particles, such as those created by grinders. Face shields are required in addition to safety glasses and hearing protection anytime a Daifuku employee is using a grinder. The company offers $75 towards prescription safety glasses for all AMUS shop employees. Foot protection. Safety-toed shoes are required on the shop floor by all employees. Safety-toed shoes offer protection from punctures, cuts, burns, and impact. Proper foot protection also offers grip when walking on slippery or uneven surfaces and is useful in helping to prevent slips and falls. The company offers $200 annually for a pair of safety-toed shoes for all AMUS shop employees. Hearing protection. Hearing protection is required in all high-decibel environments. This includes areas where grinding is being performed, when using a needle gun, and the area around an in-use impact wrench. Sounds above 85 decibels are harmful. Sounds at the maximum of this range include heavy traffic, a window air conditioner, a noisy restaurant, or a power lawn mower. For reference, a working impact wrench, needle gun, or a grinder can range anywhere from 90 to 140 decibels, from as loud as a chainsaw all the way up to the sound of a gunshot at 100 feet away. Music or radio in the ear can become a distraction, so please, no headphones. AMUS provides proper earplugs to all shop employees. Hand protection. Tools and machines with sharp edges can cut your hands. Staples, screwdrivers, nails, chisels, and stiff wire can puncture or tear your hands. Getting your hands caught in machinery can sprain, crush, or remove your hands and fingers. Gloves can help save your hands and fingers. The company provides work gloves, cut-resistant gloves, welding gloves, and mechanic gloves to all AMUS employees as needed. Hard hats. The Class G General Hard Hat are the most commonly found. This hard hat protects up to 2,200 volts and is primarily used to protect against impact hazards. The Class E Electrical Hard Hat protects up to 20,000 volts. The Class C conductive hard hat, offers no protection from electrical but does protect against impact hazards. A bump cap only protects against small impacts. Breathing protection. Employees are required to wear a respirator while painting. In order to wear a respirator, AMUS requires a medical evaluation and a fit test. Employees are responsible for keeping their respirator in a clean and sanitary condition, and it must be stored away from contaminants. Keep track of your respirator so that you do not mistakenly use someone else's respirator. Choose respirators certified for use to protect against the contaminant of concern. Do not wear your respirator into atmospheres containing contaminants for which your respirator is not designed to protect against. For example, a respirator designed to filter dust particles will not protect you against gases, vapors, or very small solid particles of fumes or smoke. NIOSH, the National Institute for Occupational Safety and Health of the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, certifies respirators. A label or statement of certification should appear on the respirator or respirator packaging. It will tell you what the respirator is designed for and how much it will protect you. Dust masks fall under Appendix D of the 1910.134 OSHA standard and are worn on a voluntary basis. You must read and sign off on Appendix D before using them anywhere in the shop or field. If there are any questions regarding if a respirator is required for the job you're doing, ask your supervisor and/or consult the JHA, or Job Hazard Analysis. Welding protection. Here is a PPE checklist to prepare yourself for hot work. You will need a welding cap, safety glasses, dust mask, welding helmet, hand protection with arc flash protection, leather jacket, apron and spats, or cotton, or woolskin protection treated with flame retardant coating, long pants, and high-top leather work boots. Now, you can start welding. PPE maintenance. Inspecting personal protective equipment before each use is a crucial and proactive step to guarantee that the PPE will function as intended when most needed. Proper maintenance upholds the equipment's role as a vital barrier against workplace dangers and is a key component of a comprehensive safety program recommended by OSHA. Inspect PPE before each use for tears, breaks, and visible signs of stress damage. Remember, clean, repair, replace. Store in a clean and sanitary condition and use a case to store safety glasses. And of course, don't toss PPE around. AMUS Shop, a recap. Think safety first. Wear your PPE. General PPE, including safety glasses, safety-toed shoes, and hearing protection are required plant-wide. Bump caps are required in the paint department and respirators are required in the paint booth. Gloves are required as needed and determined by the specific task. If there are any questions about what PPE is required for the job or task you're doing, ask your leader manager and/or consult the JHA. Housekeeping. Poor housekeeping can be a cause of incidents, such as tripping over loose objects on floors, stairs, and platforms, being hit by falling objects, slipping on greasy, wet, or dirty surfaces, cutting, puncturing, or tearing the skin of hands or other parts of the body on projecting nails, wire, or steel strapping. To avoid these hazards, a workplace must maintain order throughout a workday. Although this effort requires a great deal of management and planning, the benefits are many. Here are some top tips for effective workplace housekeeping. Most injuries at work are due to slips, trips, and falls. Report and clean all spills and leaks. Use the correct cleaning materials. Exits and passageways must be free of items. Do not store items in stairwells. Store flammable materials in designated locations. There must be at least 1 meter of space between piled material and the ceiling. Put up warning signs where necessary. Inspect PPE and tools regularly. Section 5. ISO standards we follow. The International Organization for Standardization, ISO, is an independent, non-governmental international organization that brings together experts from 170-plus member nations to develop voluntary, consensus-based standards in technology, safety, and quality. ISO 9001 addresses quality management standards to help work more efficiently and reduce product failures. ISO 14001 explains environmental management standards to help reduce environmental impacts, reduce waste, and be more sustainable. And ISO 45001 contains occupational health and safety standards to help reduce accidents in the workplace. Daifuku Recycling Commitment. Daifuku is committed to be a leader in global sustainability. This means we recycle or reuse everything we can. All metal, steel, and aluminum, cardboard, wood, paper, plastic, and other recyclable items are sorted here prior to disposal. Think before you toss. There are bins located throughout the plant, offices, and break rooms to sort your trash. Please follow the guideline charts to determine what stream goes where. Our goal is less than 1% of our trash goes to the landfill.